Welcome back to the Marine Corps Movie Minute, where we are discussing the movie Heartbreak Ridge 1 minute at a time. I am one of your hosts, Brian Lockhart,
And I'm Jack Perry.
and today we are discussing minute 18. Minute 18 begins with the Greyhound bus arriving while our heroes are having breakfast, and it ends with an angry Clint Eastwood running after said bus. So we got our minute beginning and ending with bus activity.
Yeah. Greyhound is involved. Or was it Carolina, whatever? You can see the name of the thing on the side of the bus. Oh well. It's not exactly Greyhound, but yeah.
No, because I know in the previous minutes we talked about how there was actually no logos or anything on the bus.
Correct. Yeah, it was just silver. This one right here actually says something Carolina on the side of the bus.
Okay, so
Yeah.
now I gotta take a look at that because I, once again I didn't notice that.
Attention to detail, Marine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It does. It says something about like Carolina Coastal Transit.
See, so yeah, that would lead. Well, that's the one time that they actually paid attention to detail because I think that diner. Didn't we look that diner up in like Southern California as well?
Oh yeah, yeah, and it still is in existence.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's in Santa Clarita, California, and it's an old timey highway cafe, halfway house cafe is what it's called, and it was an old timey, diner basically was what they were kind of advertising themselves as, and it looks it.
yeah. How I grew up with stuff kind of like that, little town.
Well, that's funny because we kind of talked about before. I thought about how we weren't really sure where they were supposed to be.
Yeah,
Like what point, were they in the Midwest? Obviously just because that restaurant is in California doesn't mean they were in California.
yeah, yeah. They never really say how far along Gunny Highway was in his travels when he met Stitch, but I mean, just from a little bit of experience, you kind of gather that Stitch probably wasn't too far from base.
Correct. And we also talked about that too, because it was like, that was always my question earlier is like, well, what is he doing so far away from base
Yeah,
with no money trying to get back? Was he on leave? And
yeah,
I think we kind of speculated that maybe he's getting out soon, so he was trying to set something up. But really, if he's close to base, he could have gotten a little too far away and needed to ride back.
yeah,
Uh, but still, not been that far.
yeah. And there's a sign on the side of the cafe that says Carolina Coastal Transit bus stop. So I guess they're pretty close to base. But I mean, you look around, that clearly does not look anything like Jacksonville, North Carolina.
No. That was gonna be a question I had for you is where do you think, um, do you think they actually are in Carolina? Just it's possible they could have been in South Carolina, but, the fact that it even says that's a coastal bus, yeah, I see it right there, coastal, Carolina, coastal transit bus stop, and it's right at the end of the minute when
Yep.
Clint Eastwood was running outside.
Yeah, so I guess they've been, it's towards the end of the trip for Gunny Highway. He's almost ready to check into his duty station. Man, that's a long ass trip in Charlie's.
Oh, yeah. You're not kidding. I mean, realistically, if he was traveling
Yeah, he'd be in civvies, I imagine.
now I remember after boot camp you go on leave for like what 10 days after boot camp and then I went to Jacksonville, North Carolina. I went to Camp Lejeune or I guess it's Camp Geiger
Yeah.
in Lejeune or Lejeune as we talked
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
But anyways, I decided to take a bus with a buddy or two of mine who's went to boot camp with me but was also from the same hometown, went to high school with him. And I believe there was three of us and we took
Uh-huh.
a bus. And we took the bus, Greyhound bus took 24 hours, which should have taken 12. And
Oh, man.
the closer we got to base, the more it was obvious the bus was filled with just Marines.
Yeah.
None of them were in uniform. They were all in civilian attire. And, of course, they figured out right away, just look at us. Boot is all boot,
Yeah.
convenient.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so some of them were cool and, try to, offer advice. Others were, teasing and all that, but, lighthearted teasing, no big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ended up, we got a hotel. We got there a day early and got a hotel, all of us. And it's because so we could clean up, get into our Surface Alphas, and then go report in the next day because we didn't want, we're not going to travel because in our during our travels we went to the Port Authority
Oh, okay.
in New York City. We were Port Authority, and there was a bunch of Marines there. In fact, a bunch of Marines we never, we didn't know, but everybody just kind of had their sea bags, and we all decided, well, nobody wants to sit there in the Port Authority for a couple hours while you're waiting for your next bus. So we stacked up our duffel bags, our sea bags,
Right.
and hey, can you watch this for us? Yeah, you watch this, and everybody would kind of take turns.
Yeah.
Because I had never at that point I really had never been in New York City before, so I went out, walked down the street real quick, and it was like, wow, all right, I skyscraper gazed, and a bird could have pooped in my mouth because I was gawking up there. But when we went back, we were sitting there in front of our sea bags, and we all of a sudden we just saw a trail of pee, and it was heading directly for our pyramid of sea bags.
Oh no.
And everybody was scrambling to move because some homeless guy it was sitting there and he peed himself and it started heading right towards us and we are like all moving our sea bags. Luckily we all got to it in time.
Oh man.
That being said, there's no way I want to travel like that in uniform.
Oh hell no. No, hell no.
Even in Charlie's.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, for anybody that's ever or never worn the uniform, they look nice. They really do look nice. Even, all the other services pretty much unanimously say that the Marines have the sharpest looking uniforms. And they do. Although outside of camis, it's the most uncomfortable goddamn thing you'll ever wear. The shirt stays that may or may not stay attached.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can tell when they come unattached and they hit you in
Mm.
a not so fun spot.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Ding. Oh,
Even when they stay on, like
yeah.
if you wear them tight, they will dig into your calf muscle, and you'll have these like indentations on there.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's horrible. Remember when we used to have to do parade duty? We go out there in our alphas,
Oh
in
yeah.
the middle of the summer, and everything. It's like when you look at you, you're like, oh yeah, you're dry until you take it off, and then everything that wasn't exposed to air is soaked.
Oh yeah.
It's the weirdest looking thing. Like you can't tell just until you take your alpha coat off, and you just soaked.
Yeah, I
Oh,
remember those days. I did plenty of those,
oh man.
retirement ceremonies and just whatever, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Geez,
Yeah.
fun stuff."
Yep. Yep. Sometimes I thought that those old Marines just wanted to retire just so they could have us standing out there in our uniforms.
Oh, it's like a one last, "I'm gonna fuck with these guys."
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, thanks for Sergeant. Dickhead. Oh, it's a good time.
Oh, yeah. So as far as the movie, so let's circle back to, the beginning of the minute. Bus pulls up, Clint Eastwood turns to Stitch Jones and says, "Tell the driver I'll be right out," because 'cause he's gotta hit the head.
Right?
So Stitch Jones said, "Hey, for your hospitality and all that, don't you?" Because Clint Eastwood pulls money out to pay for it, or at least for his meal, and he said, "No, no, yeah, for your hospitality, I will. I'll use my plastic, and I got it." And so Clint Eastwood leaves the tip, and it's like $2, which I imagine is a decent tip for that time, and a little roadside diner. Breakfast probably cost only about $2.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. Early 80s, mid 80s, yeah.
One thing I noticed is, and I don't know if Clint Eastwood picked up on this or not, I'm guessing he didn't. On the bus, Stitch Jones said that he would buy one of those beers off of him, but he didn't have his plastic with him.
You know what? Now look at you paying attention to detail. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So how is he gonna pay for it? So, it was late at night, and Clint Eastwood was clearly, annoyed with them and probably not even really paying attention because he was talking so much shit.
Yeah.
So he offers to pay, and Clint Eastwood leaves his $2 tip down, and he goes into the head. But he leaves behind his bus ticket and his cover, and, of course, Stitch Jones kinda stands up and takes both.
Yeah.
Now the
Yeah.
waitress she does notice that. Like, she kinda eyes him, but he's like, "Hey, as he's buddy said he's gonna take care of this."
Yeah.
But I think while he's saying that, he's kind of I mean, I think she notices the tip. In fact, that part's coming up. I'm kind of looking at it right now. She looks
Yeah.
down. She looks down, and he's kind of picking that up. And as he's taking the ticket, he kind of distracts her with letting her know that his buddy mentioned that there's no sun shining in the men's John.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
it, and then he winks at her.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she promptly cartwheels herself over there to start tapping on the door. She wants in.
Oh yeah. Not only does she tap on the door, but she starts unbuttoning.
Yeah. She gets a head start. Meanwhile, there's some guy that wants his eggs.
Right. Exactly. Well, it's funny too because like you said, she cartwheel. She had a devilish grin.
Oh, yes. Yes. She wanted some devil dog.
Devilish grin for a devil dog. Now, and she does that little knock knock. Hey, guess who's here?
Yeah, exactly.
My question is, what do you think she was going in there for? My guess is
Uh,
she wants to know what those medals were about.
yeah, hygiene inspection, just, make sure that there's enough toilet paper. I don't think there was anything nefarious going on. I mean, no, she was clearly it must have been hot in there because she, undoes her little blouse a little bit. So, you
Yeah,
know.
and because she asked him earlier about what those medals were for, my guess is that she really, really wanted to know.
All right, yes, she wants to serve her country.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
So while that's going on, we quickly see Stitch Jones jump onto the bus and says, "I'm here, baby. Let's do some distance," which doesn't sound like "Tell the driver I'll be right out."
No, no, not even a little bit.
In fact, it's just the opposite. I don't know if he was paying attention to detail
No.
throughout.
No, I don't believe so. I believe, Stitch Jones might be in a pickle here for too long.
It looks like he got away with it because we see Gunny Highway, Clint Eastwood come running out as the bus pulls away, and he's just left in the dust.
Yeah, yeah. So I wonder how he's gonna spend his time until the next bus comes around.
Well, maybe he's going to tell the waitress how he got all those medals.
Maybe. I mean, he's got some time to spend. He's
Well,
like,
she
"Okay."
clearly, so when he's running out, she comes, she follows him with kind of a little smirk, and she starts kind of buttoning back up, and
Yeah.
but the chef comes out, and he's like Mel from Mel's Diner because he's wearing
Yeah.
what has he got? He's got the white, yeah, everything's white,
Yeah,
the
the
white
white
the
apron,
white
the white
t-shirt, the white
yeah.
apron, the hat. Yeah. Oh, but as he's running out, he's like, "Son of a bitch."
Yeah. Yeah.
Now he
Yeah,
didn't run
he's a
too
little
far. He
pissed.
didn't run too hard after it though. He just kind of he ran quickly, but as soon as he got to the parking lot, he kind of gave up.
Yeah, I think Stitch is lucky that the bus driver didn't see him in the rearview mirror and decided to stop.
That's true. Especially seeing all right, because especially if you're that close to base
Yeah.
and you see somebody in a military uniform down the road, obviously he's not going to be going crazy down the road trying to catch him. But that's a fairly straight stretch of land right there. So if he kind of looked in his not rear view mirror because it's a bus, but if he looked in any of his, side mirrors, he might have seen Clint Eastwood kind of, jogging down the little bit of the parking lot.
Yeah.
He would think, "Oh, well, I just forgot somebody. Clearly he's going to base. Let me stop and get him." So yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're lucky the bus driver is just like, "That's it. I'm."
Yeah. He pulls Stitch off that bus and beats the shit out of him right there on the side of the road. Yeah.
Well, I also
Oh,
think it's pretty bold of Stitch Jones. I thought about this earlier, where like I said, the waitress is kind of looking at him while he's taking the bus ticket and the money, and he's got his name written on his jacket. So
yeah.
she would go like the guy's name's Stitch.
Yeah.
It's like the bank robbers that go into the bank and they use the real name when they pretend that they're going to take out money and then they rob it.
Yeah.
And they leave their real home address and the cops just go to their house and arrest
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Just knock on the door. Yeah. Bob Jones, please. Yeah. Can you step outside?
So that's really it for this minute. I mean, I don't really have anything else. We just see Clint Eastwood kind of stranded on the highway there. So
Hit Gunny Highway on the highway.
actually, I do have I know they kind of will tease the next minute. There's a brief second of them on the side of the road next minute. So we have once again almost a perfect ending of like the minute ends on a scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just barely. Really, if it did end right there, that would have been like you get the gist of it. But there's like 3 more seconds for the
Yeah.
next minute. So I'll just I have some more that I'll save for tomorrow, or not tomorrow because it's Friday, but
Yeah.
for Monday
Yeah. For the next time.
for next time.
Yeah.
I've said it before. We've tried to be better about plugs for ourselves and for anybody else. We haven't really done that too good, but we, want to let everybody know that we have a Facebook page. We actually have a Facebook listeners group called the Record Movie Minute Quarter Deck. We'd love if everybody can join that. We're on Instagram as the Marine Corps Movie Minute Pod. We're on Twitter as the MCMM underscore podcast. So plenty ways to follow us, find us. I can confirm we're on iTunes or Apple Podcast. We're on Google Play Music, and hopefully we're on Google Podcasts. But you can find us at our Podbean site, and we're searchable on Google. So I mean that's pretty much all the plugs I can think of. But given that it's Friday, I'll put an extra plug in there for the moviesbyminutes.com, where all the other movie by minutes podcasts are cataloged and listed, and links to all their sites. And also, I'd just like to thank the Star Wars Minutes guys for starting this format, making it popular, and letting all of us steal their idea and format. You got
Yeah.
anything, Perry?
No, man. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. This is it's gonna be a lot of fun, and now we're starting to get into the meat of the story. So I imagine it's gonna start to pick up a little bit.
Well, great. Just so you know, there is no sun shining on minute 18.
Oh, okay. Was that supposed to be the intro?
No, 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 no. I,
Oh,
I,
okay.
I had said it earlier, but I was just like, duh. Minute 18 starts off with our heroes having breakfast while their tour bus arrives. I'm going to say that again because that sucked.